Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I love video games. Can't tell? I mean, I literally, all I post is video games or about video games. I love them. I've been playing them for about 13 years now, so pretty much my whole life. And I want to give you my 10 favorite video games of all time. These are my top 10 favorite video games of all time. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. That would be absolutely appreciated. Um, I saw my friend do this. I decided, you know what? How he gave his top 10, I'm going to give my top 10. I'll leave his link in the description down below. Go check his channel out. But this game or this list is my opinion. They're my, I love these video games with all my heart, and let's get started, shall we? I'm hyped, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Coming in at the number 10 spot, I have Infamous. Um, if you don't know what Infamous is, I highly recommend that you check it out, although it is a PS3 console exclusive, so if you don't have one of those, then I would recommend just looking it up online. But it is basically what it is it is a um, open world, or it's an open world game. It's about a man named Cole. He has been this city that he's in has had an explosion happen. In that explosion, Cole is injured, but but he gets these electric powers. It's almost like he's basically the knockoff Flash almost. Um, but he basically has these electrical powers that can. He's basically electricity, a walking electricity man, and basically you have to kind of figure out because there's this person that's talking to you. You kind of have to figure out who this person is, and you come to find out that it is your future self. And you have to stop yourself from really becoming that becoming that person that you are in the future. Um, it's an amazing game. I loved this game. This is one of the first PS3 games I ever played. It truly was revolutionary at the time. It was so much fun to play. I mean, there was a lot of content a lot of content in this game, and one day, I'm hoping one day that we get a remaster, a remake, something for the PS5 or something, the PC at least, because this game deserves more love. I think that it didn't get enough love because it was a it was a PS3 exclusive, so nobody got to play this game really. Um, the first and second game are both PS3 exclusives, so you can't really play these games unless you have a PlayStation 3. Um, but this game is incredible, and I highly recommend checking it out. But my number 9 spot, I decided to go with Resident Evil 7. You're going to see a lot of Resident Evil on this list for good reason. But Resident Evil 7 is a game that when it launched in 2017 was absolutely just mind-blowing. That Capcom, because this was at the time that Capcom was kind of on the downfall. You know, they were the previous years they released games that were just not hitting the mark as much as they could. I think they released around 7 fighting games in the span of 2 years, which is not normal and should never happen because that is, way too little time in the oven to even make a fully fledged fighting game. But it was at this time that, as well, that Resident Evil 6 released in 2012, and that didn't perform well, so they had to come up with a new idea. They had to come up with something new, and they needed to do something about this whole kind of they were the Cap gods, now the crap gods, So they had to pick something about it. So they made a new engine specifically for themselves, for Capcom themselves. They made their own engine called the RE engine, and The first game that they released with this new engine was Resident Evil 7, and this game just blew everyone's mind because when at E3 2016 when the reveal trailer dropped, it was such a surprise because nobody was expecting this game to even exist or come out. But when it did, it was just incredible. I mean, the storytelling of this game, and also it brought back what Resident Evil was, which is a horror game, and um, it brought that back. It brought back the essence and the elements of Resident Evil, which is a survival horror franchise, and brought it back. And from pretty much from this point forward, from 2017 till now, I don't think Capcom has really released a bad game. You could say Resident Evil 3 remake, but I think even that game is not bad and best by any means. It's not a bad game. It's just not anything near the previous games. So I think that Resident Evil 7 deserves a spot on my list, absolutely, because it brought back the Resident Evil franchise and made it what it is today, basically. So that's my number 9. But number 8 is another Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 8. You're going to see a lot of Resident Evil, I'm sorry, but Resident Evil Village is a game. When I saw the trailer for the first time, I didn't necessarily know what it was. When I first was looking at the trailer, I was like, what is this? As soon as that logo popped, I was like, oh shit, this is happening. And I was surprised because, I think that it was at this time that Resident Evil 8 was rumored to be it was going to have werewolves in it. And it did. It had werewolves. These kind of they're called lycans, but these kind of werewolf type monsters that you have to fight against. And they did have werewolves in the game. But it was just so interesting that this game did as well as it did, because I didn't think it was gonna do amazing, incredibly well, but it did do very well, for good reason. I think that the reason I love this game so much is because of the Resident Evil 4 elements that was kind of sprinkled into this game. You had the merchant, and you had the Duke, which was kind of like the merchant, and you had the inventory system and everything like that. So it had the Resident Evil 4 essence implemented into it, along with the Resident Evil 7 type style of gameplay, which with that mix is just it's amazing. It's an amazing mix, absolutely. So Resident Evil Village deserves number 8 spot, absolutely. I'm gonna try to go as quickly as I can now. So Resident Evil Village is number 8. Number 7, Resident Evil 2. I have to put this here because I first played this game back in 2010. It was not the first game I played, but it was definitely, I think, the first PlayStation 1 game that I played, because, this game just, when I saw, because I saw my dad play this, and when I saw him play this, I was interested, but at the same time I was scared, because obviously this game was scary. It's a scary game, and, as you grow older, you get less scared. I mean, to this day, there are still good jump scares in this game. There's still some good jump scares, and especially, there are certain things that this game has done that made Resident Evil what it is today. But I think that Resident Evil 2, the thing that captivated me was the characters of this game, mostly. The story was incredible, absolutely, but the characters of this game captivated me so much, because the characters that are in this game, they're the most popular Resident Evil characters, maybe some of the most popular video game characters ever. You have Leon Scott Kennedy, Ada Wong, you have the Tyrant and Mr. X, and you have these and Claire Redfield, obviously. So you have these characters that are some of the most popular video game characters ever, probably, and they're incredible. I mean, this game, I loved this game and will forever love this game. So that's my number 7 spot. But coming up my number 6, this might be interesting because I don't know. I mean, there are people who love this game, but I don't know if there are people who put this in their top 10. But for me, it is. It's Metroid Prime. Metroid Prime is a gem of a GameCube game. It is probably one of the greatest GameCube games of all time. It is probably this game. I don't know how to explain this, but this game is so interesting because for a first-time player, when you're playing this game for the first time, you don't know what the ever-living hell you're doing because the game gives you these subtle hints, but it doesn't necessarily tell you what to do or where to go. It tells you where to go, but it doesn't. When you get to these rooms and these new areas, you have to solve a puzzle, but this puzzle is just like hidden. It doesn't tell you what to do in this puzzle. The puzzle is just there and doesn't really tell you how to do it. It's just kind of like, here's the area you have to go to, solve the puzzle. That's it. Oops. But the game, that's what I love about this game, is it just absolutely, it's a puzzle-solving adventure, and I absolutely love it. The boss fights as well are amazing. The soundtrack of this game, the Samus, probably one of my favorite video game characters ever. She is an absolute badass. I think that the upgrades that you get throughout the game are so unique, and I absolutely love them. And this game's just amazing. So that's my number 6 spot. It has to be, absolutely. But next spot, you probably saw it, The Walking Dead, Telltale. They can't be stopped. When this game is probably the first game that I got really emotionally attached to it. I mean, this was like, I love Resident Evil, but emotionally, I don't really cry when I play Resident Evil, depending on the game. I don't really cry that much, though. It's just not like a crying type game. There are moments where you do cry and you do have the emotional moments, but I feel like with The Walking Dead, there are so many moments that just get you bawling your eyes out. This game is so unique. It's such a unique game and also such a good storytelling game. This is probably, I love Resident Evil, but this is probably single-handedly the greatest storytelling game of all time. It's so incredible. I mean, the characters you get so attached to: Lee, Clementine, Kenny, Kat, Duck. You have Herschel and Glenn, and you have Carly and all these characters that you get so attached to, and that the ending gets you every time. I mean, if you don't cry to that ending every time, I don't know what's wrong with you. I'm just kidding. But that ending, it gets me every time. So I think this absolutely deserves a spot. It breaks the top 5, and it's such an incredible game. So number 5 is The Walking Dead. So yeah. But number 4, I think these last 4 games are Resident Evil games. I'm thinking about it. I think they are. So bear with me here, but here we go. Number 4 is Resident Evil 2 Remake. This is probably one of the greatest remakes that Capcom, and not just Capcom, but one of the greatest remakes ever made. It is incredible. I mean, this remake, when it dropped, was so... It was something else, man. I mean, this game just blew my mind when it came out. It blew me out. It blew out of the water. Easily was my favorite game of the year. And just when I think that the remake of this game, they nailed it. They nailed the remake. The remaking this Resident Evil 2 was difficult, but they made it. They went past that, man. They did so much love with this game. It was crazy. I love this game, and honestly, it's incredible of how well this game did. I mean, people who've never even played Resident Evil 2 played this game for the first time, and probably went back and played the original Resident Evil 2 and played the original Resident Evils that they've never played. But when they played RE2 remake, they're like, I have to play these. I have to play the originals, because of how good this game is. And they just blew it out of the water. They did such a good job with it, so it absolutely deserves the number 4 spot. But my number 3, and this game, I don't know what it is, but I can never stop thinking about this game. This should kind of be my number 1, but it's not. But it's Resident Evil 1 remake, or remastered, you should say. There's something about this game. I don't know what it is. I think I do know what it is, actually. I think that the puzzle solving and just the adventure that you have with this game just gets me constantly thinking always about Resident Evil 1. It always constantly makes me want to play Resident Evil 1 Remake, because the amount of fun that I have playing Resident Evil 1, it is out of this world. Like, I have so much fun playing Resident Evil 1 every single time I play this game, because it's not just the characters, but just the puzzle solving adventure that you have with this game is incredible, to say the least. It's incredible, because it's so much fun to just solve these different puzzles that, sometimes after months of not playing this game, I just come back to and almost have to think about it for a second, being like, how do I do this again? And then I remember, and I'm like, okay, this is how I do it, I think. But I still kind of like second guess myself. And it just brings me back. Every year I have to play this game. Every year, pretty much these top 5 games I have to play. I have to play these top 5 games every single year because of how good they are. They're just so good. And I don't know, every single time I think of Resident Evil, for some reason, I just think of Resident Evil 1 Remake. So that's my number 3 spot. So it breaks the top 3. Number 2, the most recent release of the Resident Evil franchise is Resident Evil 4 Remake. I can't say enough about this game. They did it, man. I don't know what Capcom was they were cooking this game up for a minute, and they exceeded my expectations. I think they went past my expectations, because I'm going to be honest, I didn't think Resident Evil 4 Remake was going to do it. I thought it was going to be a really good game, but I did not think it was going to be this good of a game. I thought that the game was not going to be as good as the Resident Evil original RE4, and I thought that the game was just going to kind of just be, it just wasn't going to be it. But they blew my expectations out of the fucking water, man. I mean, this game, I've put probably over 200, maybe 300 hours into this game already, and I cannot get enough of this game. I cannot get enough. It is immaculate. I mean, this game is crazy. The amount of fun I had going through this game, and really, I mean, this is the first, I think this was the first game that I really got emotional, the first Resident Evil game that I really got emotional for a while. I mean, the last one I can't remember. Probably Resident Evil, I gotta say, either Resident Evil, dude, I couldn't even tell you, man. Maybe RE6, maybe, I don't know. But it's been a fat minute. And this game got me emotional because it just kind of made me remember the original RE4 and how good of a game it was. And then they brought this to the table, and I'm just like, wow, it blew my mind. But I gotta say, it deserves number 2, absolutely. But number 1, I don't think it can ever be beaten, is Resident Evil 4. It can never be beat, in my opinion. I love Resident Evil 4 Remake, and when I first finished Resident Evil 4 Remake, I did think it was my number one spot, but after playing it more and more, I realized that Resident Evil 4 original, the original Resident Evil 4, it just can't be beat because there's too much for me to emotionally take in when I play this game. It's not that it's a sad game. It's that it is so attached to me that I can't get it. It can't ever go away because it was the first. Resident Evil 4 was the first ever video game that I played back in 2010, and from then on, I mean, Resident Evil 4 really taught me what video games were, and just it really, yeah, it really taught me what video games were. And if it wasn't for this game, I guarantee you, I would not be playing video games for a living. I would not be playing video games every single day of my life because this game just it brought me to where I am today. So that is pretty much it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, that would be amazing. And let me know in the comments what your favorite video game of all time is. I would love to know because everybody has their own opinions and everyone has their own list. So let me know in the comments. But without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you guys in the next one.